And now we have Robin Coventry, who is the president of Preservation Racine. Robin, you've been on a couple shows now, and a lot of the focus has been talking about how Preservation Racine is going to contribute to the economy and bring this community back to the greatness it once had, get our population back up to the 100,000 mark instead of dwindling in the sub 80,000, as we've lost nearly 20,000 people. But and central to that has been the Christmas house.
Now, correct. I use that as an example.
Yeah.
And could possibly be a catalyst to that.
And so there's a little activity. There's been some interest in that Christmas house.
There has been, and we are encouraged by that activity. Recently, I have been told that the Christmas house has an offer from a serious buyer, a private serious buyer, and we are very encouraged by that, and hopefully that will close. I understand it's pending finance approval, so we should have the news on that status by the end of the month.
That's very good.
Yes.
All right, but you, to broaden it out, how is this connected with the community itself and community leadership and
well, there have been many talking points about preservation, and the Christmas house, quite frankly, is probably one of the most prominent houses that we have in Racine, and it was a house that was a resident of two of our mayors here in Racine, and so that being said,
what was the other name for the Christmas house? You somebody, a prior owner?
Oh, it was a James Alexander Horlick, and it was the Emily Baker house as well.
Emily Baker.
Emily Baker, she actually did employ people to construct that house on her own as a widow. So it was her husband, Robert Baker, who had passed away, and she was the one that designed and put the, yeah. So it's kind of an interesting story. There's a lot of history in that house. So that being said, from a preservation aspect, Preservation Racine has been very, very diligent in putting together a business plan, in so much that we are willing and are preparing as an organization to fulfill the need to preserve that home. And when I talk about that, it really has been a community involvement that I want to stress today. Our leaders in this community need to recognize and need to listen to our neighborhood residents. And a lot of people have come together and to try to save the Christmas house and the Zons building and numerous other historic buildings. And unfortunately, when we collaborate together as a community and we are not taken seriously and or not listened to, what happens is you create dissension, and people don't feel that they're relevant, or they have a sense of relevance. Creativity, innovation, entrepreneurship, all of that comes together when you are, number one, taken as a resident seriously. And
now, give me an example of what you're talking about.
Example would be the Uptown movement. Quite frankly, I've been here for 4 years, and I drive through Uptown every day to get to my house. And I've seen local people, small business people, trying to salvage the Uptown area in so much starting new businesses, trying to capture a pedestrian city, and yet the city, I'm talking about our administration, have had their own ideas of what Uptown should be and shouldn't be. So what I'm saying is the Plans Commission should really listen to what our residents and our small business owners have to say.
And they're going to get a lot more out of them if they do that and listen,
well,
and use their energy towards the revitalization of the city.
Quite frankly, time and time again, if they had done that from the conception, they wouldn't have failed 3 and 4 times. We wouldn't have lost revenue, capital, investment, energy, if they had just listened to what the residents and the small business owners wanted from conception.
It is their, yes, it is their property after all, and we had several discussions this morning about property rights.
It's critical. It's critical. It's not from me, and it's not from even the residents, but it's critical. It's shown in case study from case study from case study from cities who have done this and actually have won. So it's been a benefit for cities that have taken on this leadership and listen, mayors, city council, plans commission have actually sat down and collaborated in, local communities, local, areas, districts, and said, what is it that you want? What do you need? What could impact? How can we help you?
Do you want a sign ordinances that prevents signs that be 25 feet high and puts it down to 15 foot high? I don't know if any businessman was ever consulted on that particular ordinance, but that would be an example of one where you would say, before we do this, let's go around and talk to businessmen and see what they think about this.
Right, and then instead of going back and trying to fix the problem that shouldn't have started in the first place, it wouldn't have happened. So this creates a sense of ownership. It helps ensure the path forward is relevant, accountable, and sustainable. So, and it's not me these are not my talking points. These are from cities who have done this and case studies that have shown time and time again from 2006 that if they had just done, we're talking about Uptown, and I want to congratulate them because it has taken them some time to keep the process going, tenacious, and there are some leaders in that community that have actually done their due diligence, and now they're being listened to. And that data that the failure after failure after failure, if we do that, if we collaborate in our community, in our city, with all of Uptown, West Racine, 6th Street, all of our little pockets, if we actually collaborate together, I think that movement could be very empowering. And when we take it into a preservation aspect, I really want to talk about that too, because the Plans Commission, if they really sat down and talked to us as a community and said, we want to preserve existing structures, rather than going out on another tangent that really doesn't have any benefit, zero benefit to the community. So if we really talk about central core issues that fundamentally impact small business owners, neighborhood residents. And then you have a sense of community. Then you don't have dissension. So if your leaders, your top-down approach is not working, let's go to the grassroots approach.
Very well said, very good. Thank you very much, Robin. That's excellent.